For a man who isn't into Milestones, Maurice McKendry has left few stones unturned. He's driven more than 3,000 winners. He's won 10 drivers' premierships and held the record of 161 wins in a season for a period of 20 years. He's also a former world driving champion and in 2017 was made a member of the New Zealand Order of Merit for services to the game that's not only been his career, but his entire livelihood.
We got a letter in the mail, didn't we, Yeah. And then I thought, I didn't really want to accept it, but...
Why not?
You don't feel as if you're worthy for it, do you, really, But Susan said you better, so I better do it on time.
You generally listen to Susan, I'm thinking.
Yeah. But no, it was probably, it's good for our sport, I suppose, isn't it, that we can get, recognised.
It's good for the sport, but it's good for Maurice McKendry as well. A fair acknowledgement of...
It's, through a lot of people that have helped me, over the years, You can't do it yourself,
So you took a bit of convincing. Did you have to sort of
I
talk
said,
around a wee bit?
When you're asked for something like that, of course you'd accept it.
Yes.
You have to accept it, don't you?
And now he thinks he's Sir Maurice.
Yeah.
Did things change at the stables at all? Did he become the boss?
Oh,
or?
he tells people he's Sir Maurice, yeah.
These days, Sir Maurice, or Maury Mac as he's affectionately known, can be found training a select few standard breds at the busy Pukekohe Training Centre. It's just a few kilometres from the McKendry's new training property, still under development on the outskirts of the South Auckland township. It's also over 1,000 kilometres from McKendry's hometown in the South Island.
Maurice William McKendry, born mid-50s exactly, actually, 55. Checking the surroundings out here, mate. You're a wee way from home.
Yep. I got a bit lucky getting up here in the north, and everything's gone not too bad since then.
Tell us about life back then in Methven. You were one of 6 kids, and Mum and Dad, Daniel and Margaret. You were the third child, third boy. No more spouts on after that. They obviously made the perfect product.
Yeah, they changed the sex after me. I don't know why, but it was unusual. 3 boys in a row, then 3 girls. But no, we had a great childhood. We didn't have a lot, but we had, a happy family, and had a good childhood, really.
What do you remember of school, and how good was it to you?
No, I wasn't a great scholar. I liked the rugby and the sport. But no, I couldn't really hack that.
Couldn't really hack the schoolwork?
2 + 2 equals this. No, it wasn't me.
You loved your rugby, didn't you? You actually played in a pretty good team.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, the schoolboy sort of rugby. We had a few good teams, and Methven was sort of full of rugby that days. Everyone played rugby and right up to the seniors, and so it was a lot of fun.
What did your dad do? What was his trade?
He was a builder.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was sort of, he could turn his hand to anything. He had tickets to do painting and everything in them days. Sort of my grandfather lived just across the paddock, and he always had a few horses, and that's where the bug come from,
Plus this link to the O'Reilly family. Tell me how that came about.
Yeah, well, Uncle Pat O'Reilly is my uncle, and Auntie Pauline was my father's sister.
Right.
So it's good McKendry mare. It comes through, you see.
Yeah, it's come through in a big way, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And Kerry was your best mate at school and still remains.
Yeah, we went right through the classes together and played rugby together, and he probably... he got me a job up here, actually. He rang me when yeah, Barbara Bruns rung the O'Reillys because she's related to the O'Reillys. She's and she rung to see that to see one of them, Patrick or Kerry at the time, wanted to come up and take over. You know, like Irvin was looking for someone else, and but yeah, they were quite happy staying where they were, and so Kerry suggested me, and she rang me, and then I went and met Barbara at Recire, and yeah,
The rest is history.
Up I come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me about leaving school. What did you do in the initial stages?
I went and worked for I got a job at Alistair Kerslake's.
Yep.
I worked for him for about 4 years. Got me junior licence, and we had a lot of success. And they had some good horses.
Be a hell of a good time to be there. I was just going to say that.
It was. We won the Derby, Bachelor Star, and Golden Guest ran third. And then and later on we had in her out. She won the Oaks, and Stephen Stock won a lot of good races. He was a good horse, and Main Edius were just starting to break him in before I left, you know.
Yeah.
But that was exciting times.
Yeah, good grounding there too, I'm picking.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, Alistair was good. He was sort of like a private trainer, and he sort of had to be winning the races to get the mares and foal the following year and that. So there was pressure on him. But no, it was good. Yeah.
And why the horses? Is it just that introduction through your granddad? What sort of attracted you to them? Was it the speed? Was it the animal?
Yeah, I don't know. My brother and I, we always, be looking over the paddock at Granddad's, and he got us. We'd sort of help him out with the odd horse and sit on the side of the cart with him, and then he'd be breaking one in and that. We'd be sort of round helping, but just loved it really. Like, I don't know why, but we just did.
Surrounded by names such as Maurice Holmes, Derek Jones and Doug Watts, Maurice McKendry was drawn into a future in the harness industry and soon moved north as a rookie junior driver.
I just like working with the horses, and the training side of it quite fascinated me a bit. And I come to Irvin's, and he was terrific, He was he sort of encouraged you to drive, and when I hit a few wheels, he wouldn't sort of
blow up too much.
No, he was just you learnt along the way. It was,
Yep.
Yeah, he was terrific, really. Yeah.
Well, you learnt pretty quickly because you've got the record, 4 consecutive junior drivers titles. But tell me, and I'm not trying to wind your memory clock back too far, but they didn't have a series in the first couple of those, did they? It was just whoever won the most races as a junior that first couple of years.
Yeah, and then they had a race I remember one year at Addington, they'd have a big race, and then it was just a one-off race.
Right.
And drives from North Island and the South Island. And I won one of them one year, I remember that.
So you mentioned before that the training bug was always there. You were always wanting to have a crack at that. And towards the end of the 70s into the 80s, you did go out in partnership, didn't you?
Yeah, that's right. When I come north, and I was with Irvin for probably 4 or 5 years, and he was sort of winding down a little bit. I think he was thinking of moving from Tigawata, and I ended up, at the time I'd met Susan and Eddie Town and that, and
so Eddie's Sue's dad?
Father,
yep.
Yeah. And so we ended up going in partnership at Pukekohe, and that worked out really good. They were good days, We had a lot of horses coming through and selling them, and won a few races and that, so it was good. Yeah,
the partnership worked really well, because I think you won half a dozen races the first year, but then bang, 20 the next season, which back then would have been good going.
Yeah, we had a good year and then a not so good year,
yep.
But you were selling a few all along the way, and the following year, you'd be sort of down a bit, but no, it was good. Financially we did well, and sort of set us up a bit. Yeah,
set you up entirely for your life, because Sue hung around.
Yeah.
How'd you woo her?
how unlucky was she?
Yeah. What tactics did you use to...
Yeah, I don't
Just
know.
natural charm, was it?
I think it was. Yeah. Yeah. No, we just got on good, and I'm probably a good judge, you see. And thought this one's got a few clues.
Not too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, we're a bit lucky, I suppose. She was just being a great girl, and yeah, and everything's worked out pretty good.
Something I didn't know before I started doing a bit of SWAT was she drove a winner for Eddie Town and Maurice McKendry training partnership.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. The Islura Derbies, she was probably one of the first women with Anne Cooney and Belinda Holmes and Sally Fenning and all them, and the Islura Derbies when women weren't
Driving,
allowed to drive. She used to drive in a few of them, and that was one of the ones she won on that smooth fella horse we had, Smooth Move. Yeah. So that was a big thrill for her.
Were you much of a watcher sitting on the
terrible,
sideline? No good?
Terrible. I stand by the ambulance actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you remember the race?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
Because he was one of our better horses at the time, and she was, a wee bit nervous, and I'm thinking, and she'd drawn one, and he wasn't quick out, and some of them other women worried me a wee bit, And I thought, there'll be a smash here, and
So you were by the end?
yeah. I thought she'll be, my horse and my wife will be down in the heap,
Yeah.
But no, she ended up back on the fence and got out and down the outside and won. Yeah, it was a good thrill,
Now, you were telling me before, final workout before that race, you thought, well, this thing can't get beat, but you didn't dare tell Sue.
Oh no, she was pretty wound as it was, and I thought this thing, it's worked
Good.
super good,
Yeah.
And she said, "What do you think?" And I said, "Oh yeah, I think he's got a half a chance, just to keep it down,
Yeah. Oh, that's a big thrill for her, I'm sure, and you still got the photo and the history's there, and to train with her dad, and that would have been a pretty cool moment.
Yeah, it was actually. It was really good. Yeah, and no, he was a good horse to us. He won 4 or 5 races.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah.
And she not only provided you with a winner that night, she provided you with a couple of daughters too.
Yeah, we.
Stacey and Kyle.
Yeah, we sort of together about 6 years before we had a family, and
You took your time there.
yeah, we sort of thought we'd get established first a wee bit, and so we could feed them.
Yeah.
And we got Stacey first, and then Kylie, and they've been great girls.
So did he miss out on a bit of the kid's life because of that? Do you feel that?
Yeah, some of the, some moments, but and sports games and things like that. But I think they're pretty well adjusted. They've done everything, and he's been there for some of it.
Yeah.
So.
Sue's always been good with the horses too, hasn't she? So she was obviously a pretty handy sort of pony club girl, if you like, and your girls went through that as well.
Yeah, they did the pony club and their hacks and all that. Yeah, Stace did quite well. She went to champs one year, and she had quite a nice horse she had, and did all right on that. But they enjoyed that.
What about as a father? Tell me about Maurice McKendry, the dad.
Oh yeah, like I'll say no and he'll say yes. Yeah, and then so it's yes, it is. They can do that, or if they want that, or So he's pretty good.
Typical dad, yeah.
Or some of the modern day things, they'd say this and he'll say, oh no, that's ridiculous. Old school. Yeah, but no, he's a good dad though. Yeah.
First winner, Maurice. Pleasant Command at Cambridge.
Yep, that's right.
What do you remember of that?
But he hadn't seen the gate. He'd qualified from a stand in them days, and then Urban had two in the race, and he drove one. The one, I think he drew the back row with his one, and I drove Pleasant Command, drew about two or three, and he ended up, not bad out of the gate, and I had a near enough run and come out and won it. And I thought, gee, this game's easy.
21,000 drives later,
Yeah.
about 3,250 or something wins in the bank. You wouldn't have been thinking that on day one.
No. Bit of a surprise.
Yep.
Yeah. But I've had a lot of good support, like I was very lucky with Irvin. He's got me going, and
He had some pretty fair horses too,
he
didn't
did,
he?
and he let you drive them. He didn't. He could have driven them himself, but he just put you on. Or
What were some of the ones that you remember the most of his? What were the ones that stood out for
yeah,
you?
Pleasant Command. We had him. He was a good horse. He won 10, and then he went to open class, and then we had Gold Rand. And being a junior, starting out on horses like that was a bit of a help, because Gold Rand was one of the better 3-year-olds that year. But yeah, he had a lot of sort of handy horses that won 2 or 3, and you end up driving them all,
Yep.
So it was really good.
You needed a flagship horse or a Group 1 winner reasonably early in your career, and you got that in the form of Placid Victor in a race that you really wanted to win a derby.
Yeah, like most drivers want to win a New Zealand Cup, but I was more sort of, because probably with Alistair we won the derby there, and I thought it'd be cool to, when I started driving, to win a derby, And then being at Puka here, Sandy Purden had him, and I don't know how I sort of come to get on him and that, but I started driving him, and he's a bit of a rough going horse. He could put in a real long one, but he was tough. He just kept going, and and he won that derby really good. Yeah.
It was about the mid '86 maybe even that you decided training was good and it was going okay, but it was that busy driving wise that you'd become a full-time freelance driver. Talk me through that.
Yeah, well, Eddie sort of wanted, we were in partnership, at the end he just wanted to do 1 or 2 and slow down a wee bit, and so I sort of carried on with the team for another 4 years.
How many were in work then, Maurice? How many were you doing?
I was doing 15 or 20,
Yep.
20.
And this is whereabouts? Where were you?
At
this
Puka.
day? At Puka. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then the driving sort of started to go real good, and some of the horses were getting, like, things were changing, and you're sort of getting C-grade horses, and so I thought, we better to, and the ones we had weren't much, so I sort of took a couple home with me.
Yep.
And just concentrate on the driving.
That would have meant in those early days you would have been home a lot,
Yes.
particularly with him travelling to the Hutt Parks and down the line to Palmerston.
Yes,
the
and
like.
he'd ring me up and say, well, are the Auckland fields out, and da-da-da-da-da, and we'd go from there, and then I'd have people ringing me, and I'd be ringing him, or or he'd
So you
phone him.
effectively were his manager in that regard.
Oh, some of the time I felt like I was, yes, but whether that was good or bad, I don't know, but yeah.
So it was a good 10 years there, a good decade where you just put the training to the side and, right, I'm going to do this full time, this driving caper.
Yeah, it just went that good, and when Charlie Hunter and had that team, and Gary Smith here at Auckland and they were just that big syndicate. I forget what they called it, the syndicate, but they had horses just coming in, and I had a great run.
Yeah.
I think I drove 161 winners one year.
Well, that was the record for till that other fella Dunn came along.
Yeah, that skinny fella,
That Dexter fella.
Yeah.
And in that period's where you racked up 10 premierships.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Again, you're not a man for stats though, are you? It wasn't about, I've won myself another premiership, but you're behind Maurice Holmes and Peter Wolfenden. And you're a couple in front of that other skinny fella Hurley, which I'm sure is a nice one to have over him.
I think that'll annoy him.
What were those Hutt Park days like? Because it was a unique racing track. You would have learnt how to push and shove a wee bit there, or you wouldn't have lasted.
Well, racing was great, you know. It was the old push and shove rules were in, and it's got a wee bit softer now, isn't it? You know, like it's a wee bit tamer. But they were fun days. When you look back on it, you think, holy hell, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, the middle day of a 2-day was an event in itself, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it was a good social times.
Yeah.
We, you know, that's where you go away with Tony and Mango and that, and you had a few laughs and
some of your strongest friendships were
then,
I suppose.
They were the enemy, but we had a lot of fun, you know. Yeah.
The early 90s, well, actually, right at that period when you decided to go out and have a crack full time at the driving, up popped a few trips, World Drivers' Championships.
Yeah, that's right. Because you're sort of winning the premiership, you're first in line to get a trip away, and the first time I think was the one to Sweden.
Sweden, Denmark, Norway,
Finland, all around there we went. Yeah, and that was great. A great time.
Was that the year Ted Demler won it? I think it was.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, because Tony Tony and Suzanne come.
Right.
Because he was the champion the year before or something.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
So we were both going over then with Susan and that. So
great old time.
Yeah, we had a great time, and just seeing how they a wee bit different over there, but no, it was very good. Yeah.
You placed about 7th or 8th in that one, and the next one was to Canada.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Yeah, that was good.
Yep.
I think I ran second.
You did.
Yeah.
And it was close.
Yeah.
There was virtually nothing in it.
Come down to the last race.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. And
Ronnie Pierce.
Yeah. Yeah, still bugs me because he said, I can win this. and I said, but in the horse I had, I thought it had all right form, you know, and I thought, well, I've got a show because I'd drawn one.
Yep.
And I go around to get the horse, and the guy goes, he said, how are you in the points? And I said, I'm leading. He said, oh. I said, why? He said, oh, the horse has been bleeding. He said, he's not, you know, just don't use him too much out of the gate as you can, and he might go a good race, but ooh.
Didn't give you a lot of confidence then.
I didn't have a lot of good vibes, and I seen Ronnie's one prancing around the plim. It was on fire, so I thought, oh.
Oof.
So he won easy, and my horse struggled, run about 5th, I think, and he beat me half a point or something.
Yeah, it was nothing in it.
Yeah. But that's what happens in them races.
But you got your World Championship 2 years later.
Yeah, and the Australian-New Zealand one, yeah.
Beat Fred Kersley, very good horseman in his own right.
Yeah, he was leading up, and I think I just beat him in the last race. Yeah.
Big thrill?
It was a good thrill. And
when you consider the Kiwis that have won it prior to you?
Yes.
Bob Cameron and...
That's right.
Kevin Holmes and Tony. And
the Kiwis have had a good run on it, really. Yeah. But no, it was good to win it because I felt robbed the year before, a couple of years earlier,
What about him winning it? I know it was Australasia. You still have to drive at an extremely good level to be able to do that. That must have been pretty special.
Yeah, it was, because we didn't think he was going to win it when we hopped on the plane to come back to New Zealand. And I think in the last race, the horse that he won it on was Alan Dunsmuir's.
Right, so it was at Alexandra Park.
It was at Alexandra Park, yes. And coming back that night, he was on Butler's First in a big race, and I think it was the first race, and he didn't know if we were going to get off the plane in time, and it was it a National Bloodstock Series?
Right.
It was 199,000 to the winner. He had to get off the plane. That plane had to be on time, and he won that, so that was good,
Yeah,
so,
and they would have been pretty important wins, I'm thinking, because you guys didn't have a whole lot of money in those days.
No. Yeah. He was worried about that plane not getting in time and him getting to Alexandra Park.
Set. With this $100,000 race for trotters, racing this time, and the J. Rowe Memorial Gold Cup field, they're on the journey, and Myro Salton went out well, and so did Landora's Pride. Wedgwood on the journey down on the inside, in debt on the inside, the favourite Tussle wider out to Freeholmer.
a race you've had a good association with. In fact, the trotters you've had a good association with, but you got early success in the Rowe Cup with Mario Sultan.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he was a big, tough raw bone bugger, but he started in the Rowe Cup, and probably I thought in the back of my mind, I thought it's probably a year too soon for him because he'd come a long way quick, but we drew one, we just bounced out and got a near enough run, and he got over top of, I think, Landora's Pride, was it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Firm offer, and a bonny little mare called Tussle ran fourth, so it was a deep field.
Yeah.
On the outside to True Roman, down past the 200. They're followed on the outside again then, and coming through is Firm Offer. But at the moment, Landora's Pride on the inside then, and trying to get through is the moving fast is Myro Sultan, and wider out to Firm Offer. Landora's Pride and Myro Sultan, and that's the way they hit the line. Myro Sultan has won the Rowe Cup from Landora's Pride. Then we've got Dragon's Pride and
What is it you love about the trotter, Maurice?
Oh, I don't know really. It's just I've been lucky to get on a few really. I've always sort of been lucky to be driving a nice horse, like a nice trotter.
Yeah.
For some reason, probably with my association with Charlie Hunter, and because Charlie's always got a nice trotter.
Yeah.
And then I got on with like David Moss, and I never won a Rowe Cup so easy on him. The time he won it, he was doing it easy,
He's a machine.
Yeah. When he was right, he was a super horse,
But round the turn they come in the cup now, and it's David Moss the favourite by a length and a half. On the outside to the 2 Diamond Field and Night Allowance, and behind them to Gorbachev. David Moss though with the 120 by 2 lengths. Here comes Diamond Field, then Night Allowance. They've knuckled down to it. David Moss though has got them covered. Diamond Field and Night Allowance, but David Moss is too strong in the hands of Maurice McKendry. Got the cup by 2.5 lengths. Diamond Field second. Night Allowance is third.
Let's talk a bit more about David Moss. He had a series of trainers in his time. Of course, he started out with John Cox and spent some time with Robert Cameron. I think he spent some time with Clive Herbert too at one stage, did he?
Yeah, Clive had him up here, and
Yep. Were you like the North Island driver? Is that how that worked?
I think when he came up here, Clive had him. I sort of drove him, and if he went back down south, I think Robert Cameron was training him.
Oh, that other world champion driver.
Yeah. And he drove him a bit, I think, and I think that's the way it sort of worked out, I think, yeah. But, he won a Rowe Cup real easy up here, and he won a Dominion.
You drove him in that Dominion?
Yeah, I don't know.
What happened there? Was RM maybe on the sideline?
Yeah, I don't know what it was. I don't know how I come to drive him that time, but because Robert was training him, and I ended up driving him, so it worked out good.
You won about half his races. I think about 14 or 15 of his 30 wins were with you in the bike, and you mentioned before you won a Dullard Cup with him, but
yeah,
he was known as the monster, and he used to just demolish fields, didn't he? He was at his peak.
When he was trotting good and that, you weren't scared of too many.
Yeah.
He was the best, but he had his little issues and that, and sometimes he just wasn't 100%, but when he was awesome.
This association, Maurice, with the Rowe Cup, Mario Sultan was obviously a little bit of a surprise, but you've had a good run with it with the mighty David Moss, and a special win with our Sonny Wiz.
Yeah, that's right. I've been lucky with the trotters. I've always, been driving a nice trotter at some stage, But our Sonny Wiz, I think she won second one year to that good mare, and then it was good when she won one because she was a good mare with.
Did she get beat by one over Kenny?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And she had a lot of speed, So, and her time come there the year after, I think it was. So it was really good.
And good for Ken because let's be fair, he hasn't had a lot of flash horses.
No, well, he only does, small
not many.
team, and it was good. That's when you get a bit of a thrill out of it. It's good for him.
It was half by a salute too, I think. It might have just been a wee raise of the
Oh, I don't know about that,
I
but,
might have to have another look at that.
but I was happy.
You went.
Who awakened on the outside, our Sunny Wiz. Our Sunny Wiz has gone to them very quickly. Our Sunny Wiz Bragg, followed by lots of speed. Further back then we've got Houdini Star. Our Sunny Wiz McKendry takes that confident look over the shoulder, and it's Our Sunny Wiz careering away. The Pacific Sheet and Coil Row Cup's all over. Our Sunny Wiz beat lots of speed and Bragg. Inspire flew from
What do you find is your favourite racetrack? Is it the park because you're there all the time, or?
Yeah, I like the park, but I like Addington. Like, Addington's a lovely track. You know, it's good to drive on it.
Is it fair? Is that one of the reasons you like
I
it?
think so. I think, you know, everything opens up and that, doesn't it? You know, it's, yeah, I like the big tracks, you know. But Auckland, yeah, it's good too.
Your association with a number of stables, and we'll talk about some of those shortly, but you had a great run with Jeff Small there for a while, didn't you? Motoring Magic, I think, was one of the early ones you won a Group 1 with.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he was a good wee horse. He got brought down at Addington in that big smash, and I was just thinking to myself before that happened, I'm thinking, this is beautiful. He was just cruising, and I reckon he would have been hard to beat that day, you know, so
Yeah.
that was a bit of a letdown, but yeah, we had a good run there for a while.
Ginger Man over on the outside and Motoring Magic looking to get through, can't find any room, and Reba Nero is further back. It's White Star Sam, Motoring Magic getting the gap on the inside and coming well. White Star Sam holding Motoring Magic, and Maurice McKendry getting through, and they win. White Star Sam second.
You drove Classical for him.
Yeah.
It was a very smart filly.
She was a good filly.
I think she might have won all three of the big 2-year-old races as well. So he had a great knack with those young horses, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, yeah. He was going to the sales and buying some nice horses, and yeah, he just had a great run.
Then we've got Out Wider now, Win For You coming hard. The leader is Lennon, followed by High Caliber. Southern Soaky, Win For You towards the outside for McKendry. Win For You and McKendry. Southern Soaky, they'll knuckle down. Win For You on the outside. Oh, close. Southern Soaky, Win For You, and getting through now.
Win For You, another one you had good
Yeah.
success with.
Yeah, he
won a Northern Derby, didn't he?
I think he did, yeah. He wasn't a great horse, but he was handy, you know.
What made Jeff Small such a talent, particularly at that time with those young horses? What sort of set him apart?
It's hard to know, really. Like, he's probably... He come up with the Grices, didn't he? They always had good young horses, so he's probably learnt a bit there. But, yeah, Jeff, he was good at getting them going, and wasn't he, with them young ones? So, yeah.
Maurice, your association with Brian Hughes, or he's better known as Bunty, and he's pretty close to where you live now, so no getting away from him. Gee, you had a good run with him though.
Yeah, we did actually. I just do now and again when he used to train from over here, and he'd take him down the track of fast work, and sometimes I'd meet him down there and we'd work together, and if he was a man short or something. But yeah, he had some really nice horses.
And nice to be associated with one in recent times too, and the Orange Agent, who
Yeah.
she was very, very fast.
She was good, fast and tough too, you know.
Yep.
Just went out of the bag.
400 metres to go. Third quarter in 30.1. The Orange Agent leads for home. A length on Start Dreaming on the town, waits for the run. Here's Fight for Glory getting into the clear from Linda Lovegrace. The Orange Agent, he hasn't moved yet. McKendry leads a length. It's the Orange Agent over on the town. Start Dreaming, Fight for Glory. The Orange Agent though, Fight for Glory. The Orange Agent, she is a ripping and a tearing. And the Orange Agent Super has beaten Fight for Glory. Third in Start Dreaming.
Sir Lincoln, what do you remember of, what's your first impressions of him?
You think good gaited and a really good horse. Yeah. He had a few little, you know, you couldn't really drive him in the field. He'd get up on the steel a bit and then he'd flip his pellet. So we sort of had to drive him in front or trying to get the front.
Yep.
And it wasn't always his cup of tea, but he did a great job considering everything, you know.
Sir Lincoln in front, 5-star Anvil Jasami sneaking through on the inside markers. Sir Lincoln, the favourite in front, though, is going to be too big, too strong. Another win for Lincoln Farms Limited and Ray Green. Sir Lincoln easily at the finish, Jasami second. Then we had on the outside, then there's 5.
He won the size stakes at Addington, and he won the last heat in the north before he came south. What did you think when you came up with the 15 saddlecloth, or 13 of 13 effectively?
Yeah, well, he'd missed a bit of work and he was sick, and then he drew 15. Well, yeah, you weren't feeling overconfident, but when we lined up, he was bolting, you know, and it's a false start, and I'm flat holding.
Christian Glenalvon way up the back here, and the red light's on. It is a full start, so more time to invest on this Group 1 final. You can thank your lucky stars. Glenalvon ran into the back of Bodine Christian. It's the only thing that saves you for this race.
And then they have another start. I'm in all sorts. And I was dead lucky the horse that I was following out went out. And I ended up following the train round, and he ended up parked about the half, and
He burst away at the top of the straight, didn't
and
he?
then at the quarter he's grabbed the bit again, and I thought, holy hell, you know, I've choked him, you know.
Yep.
And then he's run away from them. And my arms are jelly. I just couldn't. It was one of the best performances I've ever driven a horse, you know.
Then Anvil's Best Ever, Motu Crusader, and further back was Code Red. Qatari Mark gone. The favourite is dropping out on the corner. The leader is Sir Lincoln out by 2. The Anvil's chase, Hip Hop and Best Ever. It's Sir Lincoln down from the North Island. He's holding the Anvils in the Sire Stakes final. Sir Lincoln is clear. Anvil's Best Ever, Hip Hop Anvil, then Franco Hendricks, but it's all Sir Lincoln. Sir Lincoln for the Sire's final wins and beats Anvil's Best Ever and Hip Hop Anvil.
He shouldn't have done what he did, because I'd killed him early.
Yep.
He pulled himself into the ground, like a false start, then up again. No, I still marvel at that performance, you know.
Well, Maurice, you've said for a long time this horse is very, very good. He's had to be from the outside of the second row.
Yeah, and he pulled a bit too, so he made it harder on himself, so it was a top effort.
You put it to the hot favourite, Qatari Mark. When did you think you had him covered coming around the bend?
When I crossed the line, I thought I had it won.
Yeah, you certainly give it a bit of a smile over the line. Why wouldn't you?
He was a bit flat after that. He didn't win too many. Then he went to Cambridge for the Jewels, and blow me down if he didn't draw the second row again.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but he won that, and yeah, he was just a great horse, you know.
Rustly Rascal, Hip Hop Anvil to the passing line, and here's Sir Lincoln. 5-star down the outside, Anvil's Best Ever. Rustly Rascal, Sir Lincoln, the big boys coming now. Then came Anvil's Best Ever. Devil Dodger over the top of them. Rustly Rascal is brave. Sir Lincoln lunges and nails him. Sir Lincoln, Rustly Rascal, Devil Dodger.
Yeah, his 4-year-old year was okay. Then he got in a purple patch of form, leading into what's become your one and only Auckland Cup.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and it was a big buzz, because probably looking at the field, you know, it was a race that was winnable for us, because a few of the better ones weren't right racing at their best, and
he beat Terror to Love, didn't he?
Yeah, Terror to Love followed us, and and we were just on top of our game that time, and yeah, he won good.
Sir Lincoln the leader from Franco Emirate. Terra de Love awaits the passing lane. Getting out Gold Ace down the outside. Marcish just starting to wind up at the 150. Sir Lincoln. Here's Marcish coming after it, and so too is Terra de Love. Sir Lincoln to find them, and look at Pembroke Benny right down the outside. Sir Lincoln in front from Terra de Love. Sir Lincoln, what a drive, Maurice McKendry. Sir Lincoln won the Twillian Trust Auckland Cup. Second over Terra de Love. Third at the line.
Was it special winning an Auckland Cup, given that effectively that track has been your home?
Well, it was a big thrill because John gave Ray and me a bonus if we won it. He said there'll be a bonus for it for years. So it was a big thrill.
Where does he sit, Sir Lincoln, amongst the better horses you've driven?
Yeah, well, he's probably one of the better ones, you know. He probably didn't have the all-round game, but he had a lot of ability, you know. Some of the performances he did were, you know, they were great, you know.
He won 21 races and you drove him in 20 of those. So
yeah.
You had the best seat in the house in that respect.
Yeah. No, he was very good, yeah. He's sort of one of the better horses, you think, you know.
Let's talk about some of the horses you've had success with, and a couple spring to mind. Ho Wong, who I think you got off Danny, did you? Yeah?
Yeah, Danny had him.
Another one of the ones he didn't start, was it? And just moved him on?
No.
Smart man.
Yeah. Yeah, well, he had Tyler Folden and Harry's brother. He was sold them.
That Reed man.
You know, Phil Barber was a mate of Danny's, and he was jacking up syndicates, and he got them too and went to Reed Man's, and they did a good job.
Yep.
And Harry brother was a full brother to Ho Wong.
Right.
And I was down there once and I drove this horse, and I quite liked him. And I was back about 6 months later, and he'd really strengthened up. And I said to Danny, you know, sell this horse? He said, yeah. And he said, if I can get such and such for him, I'd sell him. I said, you'd get more than that if you qualified him, you know. He said, no, I haven't got time to go to the trials or anything. I said, I'll buy him. He said, no, you don't want to be buying horses. So I said, no, I'm going to buy him.
Yep.
And it was a lot of money in them days, you know. And so then I had to come home and tell Sue I bought a horse.
How did that go?
She wasn't happy. And then Danny wintered him for me down there, and he said, I'll send him up. And he said, I won't cash the cheque till you win a race. And I said, don't be stupid. Just cash the cheque. And, but anyway, he hurt his hock for a starter, and yeah, things went wrong. And then he ended up winning. He won his first race. He was a real good maiden.
Rock Breaker, the outside Heaven's Advocate, peeling out into the straight though, and Ho Wong's got them covered as they swing in by 2, maybe 3, maybe 4. On the inside then is Rock Breaker. Ho Wong's just running right away from this field. On the inside, Expensive Fella, Ho Wong and Maurice McKendry. By gee, this has been very impressive. Ho Wong canters in by 7 lengths. Expensive Fella second. Stock Taker's got 3 from Angot for third.
I think he won 7 out of 11 starts, and
he won a Taylor Mile, didn't he?
Won the Taylor Mile.
Yeah.
We had Holmes DG pushing us over the line, and so it was good. Yeah.
That's a fond memory, isn't it?
Yeah, Barry drew the second row and never really got much of a crack, but, you know, That's what happens in racing, isn't it?
New York fellas charging into it as well, into the straight, 220 to go. London Pride, Ho Wong got the passing lane. New York fellas down the outside and Yule Stars wider out. Ho Wong sprints on the inside. New York fellas is head in front. Holmes DG, a late run. New York fella, Ho Wong beats New York fella in a photo with on the inside Holmes DG and Home and Hose. A great finish. They were followed
Mr. Bojangles.
Yeah, that was the first horse we got for Gerald.
Yep,
Gerald
Shand.
He approached me one day and said, I want to buy a yearling.
Because he's been predominantly thoroughbred orientated.
Yeah.
So how did that come about? How did you meet him?
Well, I don't know. When I was with Irvin, he had a horse with Irvin once, a filly,
right.
Him and his brother, and it wasn't much. But and I met him at a barbecue at Collett's one time, and he said, "Can you get?" About the time I had a Ho Wong, and he said, "You better get me a horse." But you think, oh well,
having a couple of beers. Yeah.
But I never think any more about it. And then might have been a couple of years later, he rang up and said, would you train a horse for me? And I want you to buy a horse at the yearling sales. So we went to the yearlings and we bought Mr. Bojangles. And we were lucky because he turned out pretty good.
They run though to the corner, and Bailey's Dream on the outside hits the front from Mr. Williams. There followed Albert Patron. River Waltz back to the passing lane, and Badlands Butte down the outside. Big bold Bailey's in front. On the inside, Mr. Williams, Albert Patron, River Waltz late. Bailey's Dream and Mr. Bojangles over the top. He's got them. Mr. Bojangles, what a run. He's beaten Bailey's Dream and River Waltz.
Yeah.
Percy the punter, was he his, or was that?
Nah, we bought him off. He was sort of a ready-made horse.
Right.
Sean McKendry had qualified him in 158. So we went down and had a drive of him and quite liked him. And so we paid good money for him, but he did reimburse us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you looking for particularly when they're ready-made, if you like? What's Maurice McKendry's touch points, I suppose? What are the...
Well...
Or is it just the feel?
They've got to have a bit of speed, don't they? And, probably the feel of them. You either like them or you don't when you sit behind them, don't you,
Yeah.
And the day I trialled him, I was in two minds a wee bit, He was a wee bit anti, but he'd been trialled before and, probably needed a break and that. So, we just took a punt and it paid off.
Here comes Percy the punter, Imagine Me, will take the P47 passing lane, homeward bound, Dash Perfect Cullen, Imagine Me, Percy the punter and down the outside, Cullen's Crown, it's Dash, Imagine Me coming hard, here's Percy though, Percy the punter explodes down the outside for McKendry, and the Neverly Stud Rich Clap Memorial Winter Cup to Percy the punter, Dash second, Cullen's Crown third.
That year you won 160 races, I think 40 odd of those were for Charlie Hunter and Gary Smith, who were training in partnership then. Wasn't it neat so many years later to get on board with Sovereignty for Charlie, and that must have been, really pretty special that time.
Yeah, well that's right. I was sort of the number one driver there when they had them syndicates and that, and it was just brilliant. When one horse would get tired, there'd be another one line up, and it was just, going round and round. It was just, and they were nice horses, So they were a pleasure to drive, they were all beautiful trained, and it was really good. I enjoyed it. But and then, when Charlie's, when he's sort of retired, and Sean brought him that Sovereignty, and he's turned out as good as he did, and we had a lot of fun with him.
Inside with Herlihy and McKendry and Sovereignty on the outer. They flattened down past the 200 metres. Sovereignty poked its head in front of running on time. They're 6 lengths clear of Dr. Mickey and Cyclone Jake and Cassianov. But Sovereignty's in charge now in the Brecon Bustock Northern Trotting Derby. And Sovereignty coming away from McKendry. And Sovereignty, Too Good the Son of Monarchy, beats running on time. Dr. Mickey is third. Then we've got...
Sovereignty won himself a Derby, and I think he won a national trot as well. And he was unlucky in a couple of the big races too.
Yeah, a couple of times he struck some nice horses.
Just good horses.
Yeah, and but he did a great job.
Homeward bound, 200 metres to go, and I'm a Gold Digger. Now switching to the passing lane is Sovereignty. 2 lengths away, I Can Do So. Leighton H further out, Radon. I'm a Gold Digger in front. Sovereignty starting to lift on the inside. Late run now from Radon. Ray, but it going to the post. Sovereignty back winning Group 1. Second at the line as they went across. I'm a Gold Digger. Ray.
I know you're not a milestone man, but 1,000 win club, pretty restricted. 2,000, even more so. What about when you got to 3,000?
Yeah, well, it was, I think Tony got there first, didn't he?
He did,
yep. Yeah. So I thought, well, if I get there, it'll be good, and, but I don't really sort of worry about, milestones like that. If they come along, they come along, but, yeah.
And I think it was with one of Ken Savant's too, horse called Let's Hope.
Yeah, that's right, it was too. Thames, yeah.
They trot onto the corner. Kiss Me Earl and Let's Hope on the outside. Out wide at Tommy Ray and Trot Up a Storm. Myalansky runs up and behind runners. And our Super Ram waiting the passing lane. Let's Hope takes over. Kiss Me Earl, our Super Ram passing lane. Tommy Ray down the outside. Let's Hope, Kiss Me Earl, these two locked in a great battle. Tommy Ray closing in, Let's Hope in front. Let's Hope and the Magic Man, Maurice McKendry, he's to 3,000. Our second 3,000 man, the New Zealand Trotting Hall of Fame sponsored rangeman Maurice McKendry. He's done it on Let's Hope. It's very tight, second and third.
1,000 wins, 2,000 wins, 3,000 wins. They would have been cool to be at, but again,
Yes.
more so for you guys probably.
Well, yeah, the kids, they used to get a great buzz out of it and that, but, and he's worked hard doing it, like he's travelled and like when they were little, we didn't go anywhere, we just stayed home and did, did the drives, because we've come through the era of no mobile phones, and you couldn't go out on a Monday night, you had to wait for the fields to come out, and then we got to the point where we had a mobile, and if they rang your home number, you could switch it over.
Right.
And it's only later days, you don't use the home line so much now, but just the mobile, which is great, yeah.
And then the ultimate honour from Her Majesty herself.
Yeah,
that must have come as a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, well, it did really. Yeah, because you're only doing your job, and but that was it was a great occasion. We went up to Auckland to accept it, and the kids come with us, and that it was quite nice to be in the big house, and yeah, it was really good. Yeah,
that's something that the family will treasure for a long time, and nice to. I mean, I know you say, "Oh, I'm only doing my job," but you're doing a pretty good job at it.
Yeah, well, I've been lucky, like the support I've had over the years, like with Irvin and getting me going and giving me the confidence to get going and that, and then like Bunty and Clive Herberts and the trainers that all supported me. So yeah, I've been very lucky.
What about when he got his Queen's honours? How special for you?
Oh, it was great, that he could be acknowledged and that, but yeah, he hemmed and hard whether he wanted to accept it, because you got a letter to ask if you wanted to accept it, and he, oh no, I don't know if I want these letters behind my name, but now he thinks he's Sir. Yeah.
You're at the new property now. You've only got a couple in work. You've got a couple spelling, but a couple in work. And has Gerald got a share in just about all of them, has he?
Yeah, the four I've got are Gerald's. Yeah, and but so yeah, the four we quite like.
So you got Chandelier, who's won a couple of races.
Yeah.
Yep. What else have you got?
I got Shan Road.
Yep.
He's an American Ideal 2-year-old.
Qualified.
Yep. We've got a 2-year-old trotter, Shan Hill, Muscle Hill horse.
Quite like it?
He's qualified, yeah, he trots good.
Yep.
Yeah, quite like him. And we've got a Sweet Lou filly, a yearling, yeah.
So how does it work? I'm picking Sue does most of it, but...
You're not wrong.
And what about your hands-on involvement with the horses? It's always been part of your life, so...
Yeah, well, if he was away, I'd have to take them to the track or organise them to be worked or something like that. And when he was driving, like going to Wellington and things like that over those years, we only had sort of our own at home. Like we had Ho Wong, and when it's your own horse, you can put it in the paddock, you know.
Yep.
So I think we only ever had a couple when we lived up on the Pukekohe Hill. So that was always easy. We could just turn them out, yeah.
You got two in work, you got Sue and you got another bloke.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to have a big team, would you?
Yeah, but I got to do all the thinking. You know.
That takes all the work. He's well and truly not finished, is he?
No, so we'll see. Yeah. Well, you've got to keep going. And those, you know, horses just round the corner, you don't know. Yeah.
You never know where the next good one's
coming from. You never know, yeah. It might have been one of those two this morning.
Yeah.
Hopefully, yes.
What is ahead for the man they call the Magic Man? What would you like to do in the I mean, let's be fair, you're closer to the end of your career than the start, so what would you like to achieve?
Oh, I just like, you know, mooching away and winning the odd race and that, and it's just, yeah, enjoying life, you know.
The lifestyle suited you?
Yeah, no, it's been good, you know, I can't complain, you know, yeah. But, yeah, probably, yeah, I still like doing what I'm doing, so I'll do it as long as I can, I think. Probably I'll fall out the back dead.